Hi! So I'm back from Wickes and I thought I would do a little bit of a Wickes haul. Now, for those of you who don't know, before I became an ancient historian, my plan was to be a painter, and I got accepted onto the drawing program at the Victorian College of the Arts, and various things happened and I ended up going to Monash to do a Bachelor of Arts and majored in part in classics. I will link to the blog post below where I talk about how this happens and explain how I became an ancient historian at the flip of a 20-cent coin. But, as I said, before that I had always meant to be a painter. Now, I obviously love a good independent art shop, but for me the best place to get art supplies is always going to be a hardware store. So this is what I have bought today. Right, I'm going to start with this. I didn't actually buy this at Wickes. I bought it this morning. It's a toolbox. It has two small compartments, and when you open it, it has a big compartment and then a huge compartment. Now, what this is for is keeping supplies in, obviously. So when my parents were here last week, my mum brought over a bunch of cool stuff of mine. Starting with, I'm going to start with the least cool thing and work up to the most cool thing. An industrial stapler. Not all my brushes, but a portion of my brush collection. Most of the other ones are the big hardware brushes. And I used to just use the cheap, awful ones. So she only really bought my pricey brushes. So they can go straight in the toolbox. Oh no, the big one doesn't fit. The biggest one doesn't fit. And she bought these, which my partner was very perplexed by. They're canvas pliers for stretching canvas, which I don't actually paint on canvas very much anymore. Now I tend to paint on plasterboard, and I bought a huge piece of plasterboard today at Wickes, which I won't show you. So, this morning I also bought this, which is a roller. Is that the right way? No, obviously not. Oh, yes it is. I can't get it on. I'll figure that out later. A roller and a little thing. Now, I bought some non-toxic clean spirit because I like to paint in oils and house paint. I do a lot of painting in house paint, as you will see in a moment. I bought some little jars of two different white house paints. One is called Victorian White and one is called Blissful Silence. So I paint in a lot of white. I bought some quick drying ready mixed filler. This is really good on even canvas for creating texture, and it's super cheap. You can get stuff like this at an art supply store that you can mix up yourself. And it's really expensive, but actually you can just go and buy stuff like this or cement powder and mix that in with your paint, and it does exactly the same thing. Often it will actually dry better. Cement powder will dry better in your oil paint if you mix it correctly than a lot of like marble dust and stuff like that. What else is in here? Oh, I bought a putty knife. That thing looks like so badass. And I actually now that I pulled it out, I think maybe I might dress up as a pirate for Halloween. I actually will need to go to a proper art supply store and get some proper painting knives I like to paint with knives. But these are really good for particularly huge bits of texture. I got the Wickes brand paint catalogue, so I can start thinking about everything. And that's it, my keys. Keys are the last thing in there. Oh yes, and the plasterboard. So I'm so excited about this. I think that this is going to be really good for my brain. I think it is really going to, I mean, I feel a lot like I've been so stressed out recently. I get so anxious. I feel like I have lost everything that I do that is not work or focused on my partner or my daughter. I do nothing for myself. I used to run, but since I started getting sick, that's the only way that it's really affected me, is I can't really run anymore. I did an ultramarathon a couple of years ago, and from that point, pretty much the slow decline. No, then I did a half marathon, 2 half marathons back to back, weekends back to back. I guess 18 months ago, and no, it must have been 2 years ago. And since then, I have just gone down. So I'm kind of hoping that if I do this, I have not painted for a really long time. I got to the point where I just lost my passion. I lost my desire to go out and paint. And I think that it was just because life became really difficult and I was studying all the time. I painted a lot through my undergraduate degree, but then, you know, during my honours particularly, I was working a lot as well, and I was studying a lot. I was trying to get good marks to get into masters and then PhD, and you know, I mean, I don't have to tell you guys the pressure of getting funding for the PhD, particularly for an international student, and everything that goes along with that. And then when I moved here, I obviously didn't bring any of my stuff with me. And so I always felt like, you know, I don't have enough money to spend on going out and buying things for me to paint with. And I recently have just started thinking like, well, I need to sometimes spend money and time on myself. I talk a big self-care game, but I'm shit at self-care. And it is slowly doing me in. I work better when I look after myself as well. And it's really easy to get lost in that. It is really easy to get lost in that. This is already almost 9 minutes long. I think actually I'm going to post this as a separate video, like an appendix to today's vlog. So yeah, I'm going to go. I'm probably not going to do any work today because I'm tired, I am sore, I am in need of a break. But even that decision just makes me so stressed. Even that decision makes me anxious and worried about the fact that I'm not getting enough done. I am never ever getting enough done. Alright. Thanks for watching.